Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ancient Ways for Modern Days. My name is Mike Freeman. I'm the pastor at Valley Christian Fellowship in Longview, Washington. And today we're going to begin to look at the trials of Jesus as he has now been arrested. And today we're actually going to look at Jesus standing before Annas, the father-in-law of the current high priest during Jesus' arrest and trial. And so we're going to jump right into chapter 18, starting in verse 19. Now, if you remember, we saw the surrounding passage of this yesterday with Peter's denials, his 3 denials. But now we're going to zero in on this interaction between Jesus and this guy, Annas. It says the high priest, now he's the previous high priest and the father-in-law of the current high priest. But it says the high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. And Jesus answered him, "I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple where all Jews come together. I have said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who ask those who have heard me what I said to them. They know what I said." When Jesus here, he's saying, hey, I'm being tried here and there are no witnesses. This is not a legal trial that you are bringing me into. He's actually kind of calling this guy Annas out and saying, you know what? You need to bring some witnesses here. Ask them. Bring them forward. Ask them. Well, let's continue. When he said these things, one of the officers standing by struck Jesus with his hand, saying, "Is that how you answer the high priest?" Now, this guy gets it. This guy understands Jesus is calling him out. Jesus is basically saying this is not a legal accusation. This is not a legal trial. And this guy who is dedicated to the high priest doesn't like it. So he hits Jesus. And Jesus answered him, "If what I said is wrong, bear witness about the wrong. But if what I said is right, why do you strike me?" Annas then sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. Now, this is what's going on here. So Jesus is basically calling out the bluff, saying, you can't actually try me right here. You don't have the authority to do that. And there's not witnesses here. And so what Annas does is he binds Jesus and sends him to the actual high priest so that there can be an actual charge made upon Jesus. And then Jesus can actually be tried. Now, I love this encounter here because there's this interesting thing happening. Jesus has his mind focused on ultimately his crucifixion. Yet Jesus is able to speak forth about what's right, even in this moment where he knows he's going to die an unjust death. Yeah, this is it's fascinating to see Jesus doing the right thing, paying the consequence for doing the right thing, and yet knowing the end result is going to be his crucifixion. Now this, maybe for us, an ancient way for a modern day, I think, first of all, it leads us once again to marvel at Jesus. Marvel at his sacrifice. Marvel at his willingness to do the right thing. Marvel at the way he is so, honestly, just like steady and stable in this moment of trial. But not only marvel at Jesus, I think that we can follow his example. I think that many times we get in moments or in situations where we find ourselves accused falsely. The world itself right now, they look at Christians and they think that what Christians believe is actually evil, is actually wrong. And yet we understand that it's good and it's right and true. It's the only thing that's actually pure and beneficial. And so we find ourselves being accused sometimes of terrible things. We have to carry that weight. We have to carry that burden. And in those moments, I think we can be just like Jesus. We can endure. We can suffer. And in those moments, we can also say, well, where's the evidence? You're accusing me of this, but you have no actual evidence. I think that there's much to learn as we not only trust in Jesus as our Savior, not only trust in him for salvation, but learn the way he interacts in this heated moment. He's willing to ask for evidence. He's not necessarily standing up for himself, but he's calling his accusers to do what is lawful and what is right. And it's a very interesting passage. And it leads us for our ancient way, for our modern day, to yes, marvel at Jesus, but also know in our suffering, in the moments of accusation, to know that we can follow in Jesus' example, actually looking for those who accuse us, those who oppose us, to actually have evidence. to not just sling accusation or falsehood, but bring the evidence to light. Oh, this is encouraging. It's encouraging for me. I hope it is for you as well. And this is our ancient way for our modern day.